Okay, so obviously when you combined bacterial and viral DNA, things are going to change. So the bacteria is not going to act specifically like bacteria, but not specifically like a virus either. So it's going to be a combination of two, and it can exhibit new properties. And this is going to cause the bacteria to be able to do things that it couldn't before because now it's got this viral DNA in it. It can make it deadly compared to before. So it can cause it to be able to produce toxins now that it has the virus DNA in it, where it didn't before. So there's some strands of bacteriophages where before the virus infected it, it was a non-pathogenic strand of a bacteria, so something that you got exposed to and it didn't cause disease at all. But now that it's got the virus DNA in it as well, it becomes a pathogenic bacteria. So now it is causing disease. So how do we differentiate between an exotoxin and an endotoxin? Remember, exotoxin, these toxins are made to be, it's going to be produced within the cell, and it's going to be made to leave the cell and go do its damage. So again, produced within, made to be pushed out of the cell, but it's not going to kill the cell at that point. It's just the cell makes it and then ships it out. Whereas an endotoxin is going to be made within the cell. It's going to be made within the components of the cells normally, and it's only going to be released when that cell is dead or has been ruptured. So death to the cell is going to occur with the endotoxin, where it's not going to occur with the exotoxin. But obviously, they're both toxins and they're both going to cause damage. So how can Lysogeny turn the normally harmless E. coli into a pathogen? So again, this is when we're going to have a combination of the bacterial and viral DNA. And like we said before, when that happens, it can change how the bacteria actually, how it normally functions. So we can go from a harmless E. coli bacteria to one that can produce or can cause disease because of this new viral DNA that's been introduced to it. Okay, so we're looking at the pathogenic properties of viruses. So that was for bacteria. So now we're going to look at viruses. So they have different ways of how they will invade a host cell and how do they gain access to the defenses. So viruses have a variety of ways that enable them to evade the destruction of the host cell's immunity. So think about these as sort of like little ninjas about how they are going to try to not be seen by the host cell's defense system. So how they're going to get away with it, whether they disguise themselves or whether they sneak around trying not to get noticed, doing the same thing. So a virus can get inside a host cell. So if the security team is looking outside of the host cell, just in the tissues in general, they're not going to find them because these guys are already inside the host cells, and the body's not going to recognize that there's something going on with that particular cell. So they can get away with it. So think about like the police looking for somebody. So if they're looking for them in the streets, but the suspect is already in a building somewhere, then the security team is going to find them outside, obviously. Okay. So another way that they can evade the host defenses is like with the AIDS virus. It actually will destroy the immune system itself. That's gonna try to fight against it and go ahead and take it out before the immune system can even have a chance to fight against the virus. So think about two different like um, two different people battling. If one of them starts early by attacking uh, the other um, the other side first before the battle officially begins, then they're obviously going to have the upper hand um, to winning the battle as a total. Hopefully that makes a little sense. I'm sorry, it's late, guys. I can't even think straight right now. Ugh. All right. So we have cytopathic effects of viruses. So an infection of a host cell by a virus usually kills the host cell. But so obviously, every time we're exposed to a virus, it's not killing us. So even if that's going to happen, the host cell can find ways to try to fight this off. So it's not always going to lead to killing of the entire host itself. So death can be caused by accumulation of large numbers of multiplying viruses. So if the host cell can rein in the number of viruses that are multiplying, trying to kill it, then the host cell can win against the virus. But if it can't, then it becomes overwhelmed, and the virus can kill the host. So it can accumulate, and by the effects of the viral proteins. So the accumulation is going to affect it in different ways. So it can affect the permeability of the host cell. So now the host cell is going to be allowing things in and out of the host cell that it normally wouldn't have. That's going to make the host cell susceptible. It can inhibit the host cell from doing its normal cellular like mechanics. So it's going to mess with the DNA or the RNA or how it produces protein synthesis. The virus can actually take over that and tell that cell that, you're no longer going to make host cell stuff, you're going to make virus stuff instead. So, so that the virus can take over in that manner as well. So the visible effects of a viral infection is going to be this cytopathic effects. So cyto meaning cell, pathic meaning disease. So seeing how the disease affects the cells. If it causes death, then it's cytocidal. So think about like, so cyto again being cell, cytal like suicidal, so causing cell death. And then we have the ones that cause damage but not necessarily death, and that would be the non-cytocidal effects. That's really hard to say, sorry. So the different cytopathic effects that a virus can have, there's a number of examples which are listed here. Kind of